One of the biggest industries in Hollywood is children's film, so much so that studios dedicate years of their time to release their pictures. Since children's film is known for being innovative and groundbreaking, I chose a film from my own childhood to see if it could withstand the Gooding test. But prepare yourself, this film requires a cognitive switch. Holes is a story of a young man who finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. He is accused of stealing rare, donated shoes from a very famous athlete, and as punishment is shipped off to Camp Green Lake, a camp where there's no lakes and it's not green. Here he befriends boys with classic camp names like Armpit, Magnet, and Zero. The diversity of the film is what first led me to believe that it had a chance to blow the Gooding test out of the water. Boy, was I surprised. The way I remember Holes is that Stanley has a best friend named Zero, and both of them have as much agency in the adventure as anybody else. But after learning the harm theory, I see that even Zero the hero does not escape the archetypes. The angel figure is defined as someone usually in a service position or a sidekick who gives strength, guidance, and support to the hero.
Alright, had your drink. Now, I want you to...
I know. Free.
More often than not, their service borderlines magical, unless it is, and often goes way beyond the call of duty. In this scene, before Zero has even had a single conversation with Stanley, he jumps to his defense, taking down and almost severely injuring his attacker. This scene also shows him as a physical wonder, and he is described as the fastest digger in the camp. We learn later, however, that despite his ability, he cannot read, and turns to Stanley to teach him. Physical wonders often have their intelligence compromised for their ability. Even though Zero is one of the central heroes in the story, he is also a menace to society. For if it wasn't for him who stole the shoes in the first place, Stanley would have never ended up at Camp Green Lake. Despite the archetypes Zero embodies, he does escape the unclean hero status. Not only does he receive his rightful half of the Yelnats' fortune he helped recover, he is able to find and be reunited with his mother. He is able to use these funds for familial reconciliation, something that is not often afforded to minority characters. And his and Stanley's relationship does not expire at the end of the film. Rather, they remain best friends who build adjoining mansions. This question was tricky, because technically, Stanley did gift Zero half of the fortune, but if it wasn't for Zero, who saw Stanley's name on this treasure chest and also helped him dig the hole to find it, Stanley couldn't have found it without Zero. And we also have to consider the fact that Zero lives next to Stanley, not with Stanley, and therefore is independent in his own right. So I'd say yes, ultimately, he does have his own control. We have established the film features an integrated cast and therefore can move on to the charm prototype theory. This was difficult because while the film occupied some prototypes, it defied others. Stanley and his family did not occupy the affluence prototype. In fact, it is shown he and his grandfather share a room in their 4-people, 2-bedroom apartment. However, Stanley does occupy both the hero and the familial prototype because he is the one that sets the entire camp free and shuts down the injustice, and he breaks the 150-year-old family curse. Because Zero earned his own share of the trust and used it to fulfill his own goals, it can be said that the film avoided the director's chair premise. In fact, it can be said for all the characters that no one was under power outside of their own control and volition. And to answer the final question of both elements of the test, the film did achieve financial success. It was very challenging to do this experiment with a film I've loved since childhood, but the first step is recognizing these themes and moving forward from there. Thank you so much, Dr. G, for this opportunity, and I hope you have a wonderful summer.